Hey, you missed the meeting, thought I'd update you. Actually, some of you made the meeting, but there were lots that couldn't make it. And the number one thing I want you to understand is no guilt here. Listen, if you don't need me to okay a teacher being too busy for things like this. So I know you tried, and what I thought I would do is I need you to get a feeling or of what that meeting was about and get a little sense of the whole thing. I think sitting out at the end of an email, you might miss the vision a little bit. Let me run you through a couple things that we talked about. I took a few minutes to kind of explain the vision, and I guess let me just start with this. I felt like we were coming to a screeching halt in terms of this conference and what it was offering. As a presenter myself last time and many times previous, this time was just really dead. Hallways were empty, sessions had one or two people. It wasn't good. And so in an attempt to change that, I enlisted myself as a volunteer to run this next conference and to do it differently. And I want to thank you right out of the gate for somehow seeing the same kind of vision and sacrificing your own personal time. Just amazing, to be honest with you, and I appreciate it. Let me get quick, who's on the team? Erin's on the team from El Dorado, Heather from Desert Pines, Patrice from Silverado, Rebecca Glazer from Greenspun, Gary from Spring Valley, Cindy from RPDP, Brandy is from Clark, Jeff and Sarah are from Desert Oasis, Dan is from Canyon Springs, and Kristen is from ATech. Notice I'm not on the list. This is your baby, although geometry I'll be keeping a close eye on you. Let me just talk about a couple things. One, we're moving it to the beginning of the year. Teachers are burnt out in January, tired. They don't need stuff like this, and jaded and ugly by then. So we want them fresh, early, right at the beginning. We want to come out of the gate excited. So our date is September 15th and 16th, about a month in to school. You've already had Labor Day, and so it's perfect. It's just going to be perfect. Next, when your conference gets really tiny like ours was getting, and you only get a few speakers, you got Patterson down the hall offering something, you're like, that's not really what I want. You got somebody else offering down the hall, and that doesn't really fit what I'm interested in. And you realize, wait a minute, I give up a weekend, and I'm going to sessions I really don't care about. So here is what we're going to do. We're going to change the way we deliver the content. We're going to guarantee by doing it strand-based, if you pick this strand, we're going to deliver the kind of content you want, and we're going to have people leave happy. I guarantee it, especially because of the powerhouse team we've got here. PDE, CDU, listen, we're jaded, we're unhappy. We do not like these CUs things. We're chasing them, but we don't know if they're real. I want to make sure we got a PDE attached to this because that's something that's been around a long time and will last a long time. And it will be there for you. I'm working on that as well as the others, and basically you'll be a part of that and receive your PDE as well. Location change. We were in Rancho, and it was just like this gigantic, beautiful school, and I love it, but it had no sense of energy, no into the hallways, hey, good to see you, that kind of stuff. It was just like, it was ugly. And so we wanted to move to ATech, a little more central, a smaller footprint, a place that we could make a little more intimate maybe and give it a bit more energy. Social and recognition. On the Friday night, I want us to have a party. I'm working on food, I'm working on vendors, I'm working on all kinds of things to kind of just celebrate being a teacher, spend time with our peers, gripe about how bad our classrooms are, our admin, whatever we want to gripe about, but do it together. And then also recognize people. I am working on 3 major awards, which will be the high school, middle school, and elementary Southern Nevada Teacher of the Year. And I'm trying to pull together some money and some prizes, and we're going to start recognizing teachers and tell them how great they are, and I think that's a big part of changing the math climate. Finally, networking. I want this to be an experience where we build networks and help each other. That we're starting at the beginning of the year, maybe we're doing this together, and we can do that through technology and things. But also the new voices. Many of you on this list have not presented, and that's a problem with our district. It's been Mike Patterson who's been doing all the talking for too long in this area and in lots of areas, and it's the same faces. And you are the experienced ones. You're the ones in the trenches. You're the ones that are developing these great ideas and doing great things with kids. And that's what we want to share. And that's why we're forming a team, because as a team we'll generate some great stuff. So let me give you a kind of an overview of the way the conference is currently structured. Things are building and going as my vision changes and gets more informed. But here's the basic idea, that there'll be 7 sessions that between the Friday night and the Saturday. Don't think of this as a conference. Somebody said to me, you know, you're calling this a conference, but it's really not. So I'm giving that word away. I'm just sticking with the summit. And then what is a summit? I don't know. I get to define it. And I'm going to define it basically as kind of half workshop, half conference. What I mean by that is that we're going to kind of have what I would say 4 sessions where we control kind of the content of our strand. So 4 sessions that geometry teachers would guarantee a great experience and great content for them. And then after they've done the 4, the last 3 is kind of like pick and choose. So they might run over and grab an algebra 1 or 2 because they teach that as well. They might stay in geometry because you guys are so amazing. So lots of options for them. And here's what we came up in the planning meeting, and it was genius. These folks are amazing that were there. We came up with 4 things that you just want as a teacher. And I agree, I know you'll agree, those of you that weren't able to make it, you're going to love these ideas. 1, just something about getting started in the year, planning, pacing, emphasis, focus, idea, connections. Why do we teach things in a particular order? So you, as a team, we're going to figure out who's in that presentation, but probably 3 or 4 of us will be in that team, and we will create a discussion. We even said this could be almost like a panel where we could put a few of us up at the front and create more of a discussion. What is the emphasis? What are the things? We would have some definite structure to that and some great ideas, and we would have you think about them, how you would handle some of those kinds of questions, and just generate energy about the new year and the emphasis and where's the EOC, what does it care about in these things. Just give people a vision, a goal. The next one that came up was activities. Listen, if you go to a conference, you want to go home with the best, coolest, fun activities. Here was the neat idea we came up with. We would call it an activity burst. And what we would do, instead of the typical thing, we sit you down for an hour and we have you plot a bunch of points and you become the math student in high school. We don't want to treat people that way. We're going to give them bursts. 15 minutes, I'm going to show you the coolest thing about dilation or this or that. And then, boom, Patterson sits down, next person steps up. Let me show you a cool thing about similar triangles that I always do. And I do this and I cut the papers this way. Let's show you. Boo, sit down. The next person. So we would burst idea after idea, not long enough to like burden them with doing the task, but actually just long enough that they get a feel and get a sense of its level of difficulty and what it could do. And then, I'll come to it now, but because it's later, then what we do down here is you hold your own session for an hour and a half, or maybe split it with a partner and say, I'll do my activity for 45, you do your activity for 45, and we'll do the full thing. Let them get a little burst, a little picture right here, and then later we saturate them with all the goods and all the fun stuff. Because they've already seen it, they've already decided they like it, they're going to go to your session. And maybe by splitting it as a team, then it's not that hard to plan, and it's not like a whole hour and a half of just one activity, but maybe 2, maybe 3 if we worked it out that way. The technology slam, very similar. We started talking about 2 sessions of technology, one about like how do we use it as a teaching tool, and then how do we use it like geometry tools like apps and GeoGebra and things. But other people were talking about, well, I use it for like polling my class and assessments and things like that. So we thought we'd just actually put them all in one and do the same kind of thing where a team of teachers would get up and kind of just run them through the burst, boom, 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 slam them with all these great ideas. Again, just give them views of it, and then later down here you offer a full session of it, and you say, hey, come on in for an hour and a half. We're going to do GeoGebra, we're going to do Geometry Sketchbook, we're going to show you this great app that does 3-dimensional cross-sectional cuts, or whatever it is. Just great stuff. Or just more generic about how I organize my class through technology, Google Classroom, that kind of stuff. Everybody wants that stuff. Finally, the money, EOC. This is where each of us have started to create EOC materials. We've started to identify some of the issues with the EOC. We've started to identify things that we're doing in our schools to improve our kids' chances to succeed. And this is where we will just kind of hit that topic hard, again, with a bunch of us on a team, and present that. And then what we would do, and I don't know how many sessions we'll offer, but I'd love to offer a bunch of sessions where people from over in the algebra stream would run over and catch us. People in our own stream would stay and hang out with us. And I think kind of that idea of 2 for 1 I like, where maybe we split some of these sessions, pair you up and say, hey, you do half, two bangs for $1, right? So this is the big idea. I don't want to sit on this video all day long. I just needed you to get a sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Google form for each of these, and then one just about maybe what are some of the big ideas that you would be willing to offer. And then let's start entering into the Google form some of our ideas or some of the things that we do, and we'll start to build those presentations with time, on our own time, right? And I'll put in maybe, oh yeah, the star over here is Cindy. I'll say to Cindy, hey, let's start framing this up. We start to need some people assigned. We need to know kind of how many rooms, some of those types of things. But right now, let's get the ideas going. All right, let's generate some ideas. And I just want to thank you again for your willingness to be a part of this team. I guarantee we're going to succeed, and we're going to have a great time doing it. And you'll be thankful that you were a part of a professional development team that deeply impacted your mathematical community. Thank you so much, and I'll hit the rest through email and through the Google form. Thanks.